methodology behind why Gio was attractive to you?
Yeah, we're always looking for players who fit how we play. When Gio's healthy, he does three things really well. He makes a ton of contact, he hits the ball hard, and he plays above average defense at third base. Those are the main elements of why we targeted Gio. We're thrilled to add him to this group. He put together a really good run from 2020 through 2022. His 2023 season was plagued by injuries and then ultimately cut short. But we feel like he can strengthen our infield defense. He has pounded left-handed pitching pretty much his entire career, and especially over the last 3 years. And we feel like he fits our roster because he has a chance to strengthen our infield defense, but also allow AJ to reconfigure the rest of the diamond to also strengthen our outfield defense through how he's going to use them. So we feel like he fits how we play. We feel like he's going to fit really well in the clubhouse, and we're excited to add him.
So he was available, obviously, all winter. Was it something that you saw early in camp that said that maybe got you thinking more in terms of making that deal?
No. We've been tracking Gio all winter. We identified him early as a guy that we felt like could fit how we play, and we're excited to add him. This wasn't a late pivot or anything.
You mentioned his performance against lefties. Do you think he's a guy who could become an everyday player for you guys, depending on performance? Like, does he have that in the toolbox?
Yeah, AJ is going to determine who becomes an everyday player. He's put up an impressive track record against right-handed pitching too. Again, I wouldn't read too much into his year last year, given the injuries that he was fighting through for pretty much the whole year. But this is a guy who we saw in our division in 2022 who he hits both sides, and again, he makes a lot of contact and hits the ball really hard.
You mentioned that this could indirectly strengthen the outfield defense. Would that mainly be through Matt Vierling getting more opportunities to play out there, or in what sense would that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret we're trying to build a highly versatile group that allows us to add a piece late in the season that can strengthen other areas of our roster. I'm just trying to add a piece that we feel like fits how we play. We think Gio elevates our whole roster in that it gives AJ ways to manage this group differently. He's going to talk to you about some of those things, but again, we think he fits really well.
Along the same lines, but actually bigger picture, run prevention, we were just talking, everything from the pitching staff you put together to the bullpen to now those pieces from the infield to the outfield. Do you feel like you've made steps in that regard?
Yeah, we feel like we've made steps in that regard. We expect the pitching staff to induce a lot of swing and miss and a lot of soft contact, and we have to turn that soft contact into outs. Gio is definitely going to help us do that. The other note is one of the most challenging elements of my job is to prepare for injuries. We operate in a world in which we know injuries are on the horizon. We know they're coming. We don't know exactly who and when. We have to always find ways to add talent and depth because it's going to help us when those injuries come. I think Gio helps us now as a healthy group, and he's going to help us even more when inevitable injuries come on the horizon.
Does this afford you guys a little bit more patience with a guy like Jace Young to let him develop in the minor leagues and maybe give him more time? Or is there still kind of, sometime during the season?
We're going to do the right thing for Jace's development. That's going to be an evergreen comment for me. Like, we can't rush guys to the big leagues. We've seen, in recent years around the league what happens when you rush guys. Sometimes they really struggle and aren't ready to perform at this level. We got to do the right thing for Jace. I guess there's some indirect impact in adding a third baseman on Jace, but we're sort of looking at them as two separate things.
You've accumulated a lot of right-handed bats who hit lefties pretty well. Was that by design, or is that just kind of a happy accident of how the roster develops this year?
It was by design.
Yeah. Why is that something that you like to have those platoon splits on right-handed?
Well, so it's important to know I don't view Gio as a strict platoon guy. He has a track record against right-handed pitching. He just happens to hit left-handed pitching a little bit better than righties. after watching us play last year, like we are playing a different aggressive brand of baseball this year than we have in this organization in recent years. I'm just trying to give AJ as many weapons both in the game, in the starting lineup, but also on the bench. So when Gio is not starting, it's a real threat on the bench. When a player like Carp isn't starting, he's a real threat on the bench. So we're looking at the entirety of the roster. We're looking at how the pieces fit together, and it felt like adding another right-handed bat could help elevate the whole roster.
What do you think about the way the free agent market has unfolded since, say, the new year, both pertaining to this signing and also to free agency as a whole?
We felt like it played out pretty well for us, and that we found multiple instances where we felt like we could add a player to add a contract value that we liked. I can't really speak to the rest of free agency, but we saw opportunities for ourselves, and we're glad that we were able to pull the trigger on them.
Getting deals done earlier in the offseason, like you guys were one of the most aggressive teams out of the gate. Does that help you now? Did that help you with this deal now, being able to take care of some of those things early?
I'm trying to evenly distribute it across the entire winter for you guys to give you like defined periods where you can write about each guy. It's so unpredictable.
It just happened to work
when
out
we
that way.
when we find an opportunity that looks good to us, we're just going to do it. Whether we cluster those or spread them out, it's sort of not for me to decide.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So we can't make this out as a you beat your mentor kind of thing on Gio? Because you and Boston were like neck and neck. I thought that's what the
I don't even know if
I'm
that's true.
joking,
But yeah,
So we're still making that.
yeah. So.
We haven't talked to you since the Blake Dickerson trade.
Yeah.
Kind of a creative, allocation of resources. How did that come about, and what did you guys see in Dickerson or in the opportunity that you really liked?
Yeah, we were really excited to add Blake. He's a 6'6" left-handed projectable starter. Those guys are really hard to find. He played with Max and McGonigal on Team USA. It's a guy that we've been tracking for a while. San Diego did a great job of getting him done in the draft. There were a lot of people that thought that he was going to go to college, go to Virginia Tech. So it's a guy that we have been following. It was an opportunity in which San Diego was interested in acquiring more international money. We were interested in adding another projectable starter to a pitching development group that has been getting a lot out of pitchers recently, and it felt like a really good project for us. The more we dug on the strikes, the raw stuff, and the human, the more we liked Blake, and we felt like it's a good opportunity to use some international amateur money to acquire a domestic amateur. But those types of profiles are hard to find, and we're lucky that we had an opportunity to get one.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.